Good evening. This is H&N, the Holotable News Network. Is you're not even remotely close to around-the-clock Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes news, reactions, reviews, theory crafting, and more source. I am Celia Xera, one of your hosts, and today we are joined by my distinguished co-host, Pico Burrito. How are you?
Good evening. How you doing?
Good. You?
I'm doing well. I'm watching a political ad on YouTube right now as I wait for the stream to kick up on my other browser because we're at that time of year. So it is what it is.
It's that time of year everywhere.
No, but doing well. It's content day. We got new stuff like that. That's the exciting part. So
I know, and we had a new puzzle.
we did. How much of the puzzle did you actually did you get a chance to did you participate? Did you watch it? How much of it were you involved?
So I was watching it when it started because I was
Okay.
curious, and then I got a little bit low key jealous that it was an actual puzzle because I love puzzles.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's fine. But I watched that. I watched everyone trying to put it together. I was
Sure.
watching people on the event server trying to put it together on Photoshop, and then Cubs and Gridsy trying to put it together, and it was just oh man, it was just a crazy time. So I watched that, and then they were trying to decipher the coding on it, and it was this whole thing.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was like, I can't focus on this anymore. I gotta go to bed. And when I woke up, they were waiting for the stream to start
Yeah.
on the escape pod. But I did participate a little bit and I don't know how many other people pointed this out, so I'm not going to take credit that it was me that gave the idea or anything, because I'm sure somebody else said it too. But in the video, the letters were highlighting at different points, and I
Okay.
had noticed that they were highlighting in the same sort of symbols as the pigpen cipher they were using earlier.
Okay.
So I just I pointed out that if you put them in order because they were collecting the timestamps of them too, and I was
Yeah.
like, just use the pigpen cipher, which ended up being a whole bigger thing because it had to do with the border on the video too, and it was this whole. It was a typical Crumb puzzle, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you watch any of it?
So I watched a little bit of the puzzle piece part, and then I old man and needed to get to bed. I had an early soccer game the next day. I was surprised when I woke up the next morning that it wasn't solved yet. Um,
Yeah. I mean, I shouldn't have been surprised, but I was also surprised that they stayed up the whole night.
yeah,
I was like, man, isn't there somebody you could tag team in and get some sleep?
that's what I noticed. I was up at 5:36 the next morning, and I checked, and I saw the people in the voice channel, and you could see the little colors changing. So clearly, people were still talking. I'm like, man, that's crazy. But
Oh
you
man.
know, look, we're all Star Wars nerds here, and there are different types of nerds in the world. I'm slowly becoming a Pathfinder nerd, a D28 game, and it's just all the details there. But um, I don't even want to say the puzzle nerds,
Hmm.
but the ones that actually understand ciphers and code breaking, that is a whole level of just nerd respect that I mean it's so impressive, and just to know and understand those things.
Yeah.
uh, that is not a passing knowledge. That has to be something you actively kind of work on your entire life. And I just that's I hats off to all those people for figuring that stuff out. So
Yeah, and I like to think I'm good at these kinds of things, and you go to an escape room or something, I'm like, yeah, I can handle this, and then what ends up happening is I just overthink everything, and I
yeah,
also am super stubborn, and I don't want, as soon as I latch on to something, I'm like, I don't want your opinion, this is what it is.
yeah,
So the fact that they were able to figure it out was awesome, and work together and get
yeah.
different ideas. So kudos, they can do the hard work for us.
So were you surprised by? So there were two results. I mean,
Yes.
that was the exciting part, and I don't think anyone expected two results. Were you surprised by the first one?
No.
Okay.
No.
Were you surprised by the second?
Yes, I didn't know where it was going because obviously, we got the first once we got
Yeah,
Hondo, and they were like, "No, there's more to it. It says to keep going," and I was like, "I don't know where we're going anymore." So
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just along for the ride. Um, were you surprised by the second?
Y- Absolutely. I assumed that Dr. Aphra was going to come into the game eventually. Uh, I was surprised that two um, fan favorites probably isn't the word to use. I think maybe cult favorites,
Right.
because I think there's a cult of Hondo and there's probably a cult of Aphra. I was surprised that we're getting them both at the same time. Uh,
Yeah.
so I think the other piece that this will be the third year in a row that we've got the yeah, everyone keeps calling it the SK like the Star Killer like event, but it's really the BAM like event because that happened 2 years ago.
Ooh, that's a good
So
point.
this is the third time in a row. This is now a trend. Like,
Because
1 point is a data point, 2 points is a line, 3 points is a trend.
BAM went straight to Journey Guide as well.
Yes. And
That is a great point. I forgot about BAM.
yeah, and they dropped it with the four characters that kind of led up, and then he was the end result.
Mm-hmm.
And so it'll be interesting. Like, are we going to get any of these characters on? They did some weird, like if I remember, they did like accelerated drop, not accelerated drops. It was
Like accelerated farming.
oh, what
Not
are the?
farming.
It was a chase. They were the
Like,
galactic. They were galactic chases. At least on
uh,
like, was it Quill and IG-88 that they were
mm,
the galactic chase?
I cannot remember. Because I know
That
for
was
Star Killer, it was like one after the other in terms of marquees, and they like sped up the cadence in terms
yeah.
of how they get dropped to somewhere farmable. I can't remember what they did for BAM now. I totally
And
forgot about BAM.
yeah, and I think the other really cool part about that is, we all know what January's used to look like when there was nothing going. CG takes a vacation, like everyone should get a vacation at the end of the year, and then they kind of come back, and like everyone else, it takes them 2 weeks to get into January for things to start happening.
Mm-hmm.
They now release this character towards the end of December, early January. It kind of builds in something for the community to keep themselves busy with
Mm-hmm.
while they kind of ease back into the year. So I'm pretty excited that this is that they're going with this approach again. So
I like it because, I mean, assuming she is similar to Starkiller, you
yep,
get a mini galactic legend, so to
yep,
speak, um, for a somewhat cheaper cost.
yep.
And yeah, I mean, the downside to Starkiller, not that there is necessarily a downside, but each of his requirements don't go with him. So
Right.
you kind of have these four characters that you now have to figure out what you're going to do with. And I'm curious if it's going to be the same for her, for Aphra.
What's interesting though about Starkiller is we all know they kind of all went off in a different direction and they all made really great teams in
Mm-hmm.
various pieces, with the exception of Talon. And it's not that
Yeah.
she's a bad character, but her job is to give 20 speed to everyone else and then make sure the leader doesn't die.
Right.
It's she's not fun and exciting, where Dash does cool, fun and exciting things. And there's, Dash has been in and out of the meta at different points, and he's got the Outrider, and Kyle and territory battles made it easy.
Mm-hmm.
We all have seen what Mara Jade and Starkiller have done together from that side, but she's just like oh yeah, and what was the fourth one? Oh, it was Talon. That's right. So
Yeah, you're kind of like, oh yeah, the stepchild comes
yeah,
along. uh, yeah. So I'm curious if it will be the same or if it looks like they'll go with her. I don't know.
well, and I think we're going to talk about this. It's who's the other characters. I think are what's going to matter. I think there's some thematic choices, um, but my opinion of Hondo is changing
Oh, okay.
in a little bit. So, um, but we can save that till we kind of talk about the kit a little bit. But
Okay.
um, yeah, I don't know. I'm up in the air with this.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, we only have two headlines, and one was the puzzle, and the other one is his kit. So, should we segue into his kit?
Let's segue. Let's segue.
Okay. So, like, full disclosure, because I was paying attention to the puzzle, like, I did kind of read his kit during
Okay.
the puzzle. Um, not in crazy detail, and I actually don't even know if they did change it because they said it wasn't super finalized at the time.
I'll be honest. I read the PowerPoint version of it, and
Mhm.
it just didn't work for me.
You're like, I need the
I
forum
yeah,
post.
I need the forum post. I need the blue screen with the details, and it's just yeah. And um, they don't. If I don't think they have numbers in like the PowerPoint slides. Where so some of
No.
this is trying to figure out what some of the numbers are behind things. But so I'm happy that we've got the forum post.
Yeah. Okay, so in I don't know if this was an unforeseen thing or something that no one saw coming, but he's neutral. First of
He's
all.
he's neutral. Well,
I never thought that we would see a neutral character. I remember when they put that in as like a faction
yeah,
selector or whatever you want to call it, alignment, and I was like, this is broken.
and I think how they're going to deliver neutral because look it was Hondo's coming and he's neutral. That
Mm-hmm.
was that you had I think legally you had to say all those words together or you weren't allowed to talk about them over the weekend. Um, but I think I don't know about you, but I was surprised by what neutral means, and
Yeah.
they've now said it's basically he goes anywhere in any game mode.
Yeah. Anywhere you want. Territory
In fact,
battles.
yep, on the patch today they changed territory battles to show
Mm-hmm.
light side and neutral
Mm-hmm.
characters for some of those missions. So uh, I think I don't know about you, but I kind of thought that neutral was going to mean this new neutral path in the new territory battle,
Right.
but now he's going to be a super usable character.
Yeah. And like, I don't know, I'm just looking because they obviously have his synergy suggested to go
Yep.
with BAM, and a lot of people do BAM scoundrels in light side territory battle.
Yeah.
So, like, theoretically, I don't know, he might be in there. Oh, so, okay. Um, so support, scoundrel, and smuggler.
Yep.
Pretty straightforward. Oh yeah, okay. So I forgot I have to scroll past all of these things, which are going to be interesting for us to look at.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so his basic is I smell profit, which makes me feel like he should work with Newt.
Yes. That's a great. I like that.
Okay, so deal special damage to target enemy, gain 1 stack of ransom to a max of 50 for the rest of the encounter, which can't be copied, dispelled, or prevented. If the enemy is light side, he removes 10% turn meter from them, and if they're dark side, he gains 10% turn meter. So, I like that,
Interesting basic.
right?
Um, Remembering what character I'm targeting is going to be a bit of a pain in the butt, but
Yeah,
not bad.
right? And then, so ransom is just plus 2% max health and tenacity. So you could go up to 100% max
Right.
health and tenacity, which is nuts.
Yeah, you're not stunning him. You're not dazing him.
Yeah,
You're not going to slow him down.
yeah, that's crazy. Okay, so his first special is a Zeta and it has a cooldown of 6. I don't want to kill you per se. Remove 20% turn meter from all enemies. He gains outmaneuver for 2 turns, which can't be copied. Inflicts captive on the target enemy, excluding galactic legends, which can't be copied, dispelled, evaded, prevented, or resisted until the start of Hondo's second turn. Enemies gain 25 buffs, or Hondo is defeated. Okay, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of caveats here.
All right. And then whenever it expires, Hondo gains 10 stacks of ransom. So it's like it's like a fracture. Speed is set to
Yeah.
0. You can't gain bonus. You can't bonus attack or gain bonus turn meter. And then
In fact, speed 0 is worse than fracture because I don't know if you've ever got like zombie down to the double
yeah,
negative.
they never move.
It just stops.
Yeah,
It doesn't do squat.
yeah,
So
yeah. Because fracture is a percentage, right? Not a set to 0. I can't remember now.
correct. I believe it's a percentage because they will eventually gain turn meter. It slows them down, but they will eventually get a turn.
Right. Oh man. So, okay.
But it so it can be dispelled at the end of Hondo's second turn, is the way that I read that.
Right. Yes. That's how I'm reading it as well. Or if you gain 25 buffs somehow.
Yep.
Or you kill Hondo, which is the same as like Fracture from Thrawn.
Yeah.
You kill Thrawn and it goes away.
Yeah, like if you took troopers against him, or if you for some reason Hondo was on a trooper team, I don't know where that makes sense. You're going to pick up 25 buffs really quick just from all the assists and everything else piling up that way.
Right.
But so it's, or I wonder if like the Empire, or sorry, the Radis team, like does Hope count as that? Because I think those are all buffs there as well.
That's a good point.
So yeah, that'll be interesting.
I'm also curious if this makes like a case for having a slower Hondo. I don't know.
That's a great question. We'll see in a second.
Oh, okay. Okay, so second special, Insolence. We are pirates. Cooldown of 4. Spell all debuffs on all scoundrel allies. Call target ally to assist, and then Hondo assists. If the target ally is light side, they gain 25% damage and defense penetration for this attack. If the target ally is dark side, they gain 25% critical chance and critical damage for this attack. Hondo gains defense up for 2 turns and 4% offense per stack of ransom for 3 turns. Yikes.
Yeah.
If he has at least 5 stacks of ransom, dark side enemies are inflicted with ability block for 1 turn, which can't be evaded or resisted. So you could dispel it. And light side enemies are inflicted with buff immunity for 1 turn, which can't be evaded or resisted. If he has at least 25 stacks of ransom, increase the cooldowns of all enemies by 1. Yikes.
So I look at a lot of these and you immediately take the like, what is this intended to do? And we saw this a little bit in some of the Jabba kits with the if you do this to a light side character, you get ABC. If you do this, you get DEF.
Mm-hmm.
It somewhat feels they're now just throwing buffs at factions or like debuffs at factions, and they're not really designed to do anything outside of cause chaos.
Right. And it's kind of like you're making it so that it goes after this faction specifically.
Yeah.
Or works with this faction specifically.
But I'm not smart enough to figure out like what's special about a dark side team that ability block hurts them significantly more than buff block on a light side team. Like that's where I don't know. I need other people to create videos and tell me why these things matter. I guess we don't want to put a buff block on Malgus because that makes Malgus easy to kill because he gets the taunt off, or maybe it's something to that effect. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm not smart enough to figure out these
it's
if this then that type things. So
it's very specific, but also not specific at the same time.
Right. Yeah.
So okay. So his first unique, that's just good business, which is a Zeta and an Omicron. He has 100% plus 100% health steal. Whenever he evades an attack, he gains 1 stack of ransom. If a captive enemy is defeated and Hondo does not have at least 10 stacks of ransom, Hondo typo. Okay. What? Hondo typo escapes from battle. Oh my goodness, guys. You're just making it so easy to roast your copy.
Now I gotta check in game to see if it actually says that in game.
So if you defeat the captive enemy and he doesn't have 10 stacks of ransom, he will escape from battle. He gains bonuses based on his stacks of ransom. So 5 plus stacks, you add an expose to the target enemy for 1 turn and gain foresight for 1 turn to his basic ability. Plus 10 stacks is immune to critical hits. Plus 15 stacks, recover 20% health at the start of his turn. 20 plus stacks, recover 20% protection at the start of his turn. Oh my goodness. At the start of his turn, if there is an enemy with the captive debuff, Hondo gains 15% critical chance, critical damage, and defense penetration, stacking to a max of 150%, and 3 speed stacking to a max of 30 for the rest of the encounter. While in Grand Arena, so his Omicron, Hondo starts the encounter with 25% turn meter for each other scoundrel or smuggler ally, so 100% theoretically.
Yep.
If there is an enemy with a captive debuff at the start of Hondo's turn, Hondo gains an additional 15% critical chance, critical damage, and defense penetration per turn, stacking max 150% and 3 speed, stacking max 30. Okay. Isn't that what it just said?
So...
Oh, that's an additional.
Yes. So it's in Grand Arena, it's 60 speed and 30% critical chance, critical damage, and defense penetration. So you just hit the caps faster,
right?
Is what it comes down to. Yeah.
Okay, so right, because you're not gaining.
It's 6 speed, and not 3 speed up to 60. It's 6 speed. So you're maxing everything out in 5 turns as opposed to 10 turns.
Right. Okay. So the cap stays the same. You're just getting there quicker.
Yep.
Really great point. Just in chat. Will he be fast at base? Like, will he go similar to Han or Watt? Going first, similar to Han or Watt. I think if Han or Watt are there, they still go first. Watt goes, because Watt is technically a bonus turn, so that's before 100% turn meter. Han always goes first. So Han's going to shoot first no matter what. And then it would be Hondo.
So, but you're not going to stun Hondo is going to be my guess.
Yeah.
I'm guessing he's also, I haven't looked at his stats on .gg, but I'm guessing he probably starts with a pretty decent tenacity, so he's not going to be slowed down. But so, all right. So I had a thought until you asked your question. So
sorry.
He's gonna no. This is actually I never considered this. So he's gonna go fast. Like this is where we're looking at it like, oh, is he gonna fit in the scoundrel smuggler team? I'm like, I started thinking about it today. Is he gonna be the new Thrawn?
Okay,
because that was always the great part with Thrawn, is that Thrawn was so plug and play, and I just need to make this problem go away until I can deal with it. He's so fast, like that 100% turn meter on the right team is going to get him to go first, and then you can remove whatever problem you need off the board, unless it's I don't think he has like a avoid taunt or anything to that point. So. But you can probably make him relatively slow, but because of that 100% turn meter, he's still probably going to go first in a lot of cases.
Right. It'll just be slower to get to his second turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he would still be going because he's at 100%.
Yep.
So it doesn't really matter, at least in Grand Arena.
Yeah. And I think there's something else coming in there as well. So
right. So he has a second unique.
Yes.
Which is, I guess we won't be friends. The first time any character gains bonus turn meter each turn, Hondo gains 5% bonus turn meter. Oh, okay. Whenever any character gains a buff, Hondo recovers 5% protection. Whenever any character assists, Hondo gains protection up 5% stacking for 1 turn. If Hondo had at least 2 other allies at the start of the encounter, the first time Hondo has no other active allies, he gains 100% turn meter and 25% counter chance, defense, evasion, offense, potency, and tenacity for the rest of the encounter. Yikes. Okay, so he is going to be getting bonus turn meter.
Yep.
Anytime a character gains, like not even just his allies.
Yeah.
Like this is a cool. I like this, that it's any character on the board gains turn meter, gains a buff, or assists. He's getting something.
It's like he's stealing from everybody.
Yeah.
You know, you're getting 25, but I'm taking 5 off the top.
Right. He's a pirate.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a pirate.
Okay. So this is interesting. They added this at the bottom,
Yep.
and I had this question about him because he's neutral. So what about Datacrons? How does that work? So according to them, he's not considered light side or dark side. So any kits or Datacrons that have bonuses for those alignments don't apply.
Yep.
He can still gain stat, faction, and character bonuses through Datacrons. So if you have a Datacron that applies to smugglers, he would gain the level 6, but not the level 3.
Yeah, he'll never get a level 3, at least the way that they're currently building all the Datacrons.
Yeah.
So
Yikes.
So we normally skip through the frequently asked questions,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a ton in there that probably needs to kind of talk through. So
Okay.
we talked about the neutral piece.
Yeah.
Stacking on his unique. No, that wasn't it. It was so this whole idea about Hondo fleeing.
Yeah.
One, I think it's so cool. I mean, it's the ultimate high risk, high reward type thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if he's there, but they said in the questions, there's a scenario that you can kill the last enemy, but Hondo would flee
Mm-hmm.
and you would lose.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if the last target has not handed out 10 stacks of ransom to Hondo and he kills him,
Mm-hmm.
Hondo runs away because he didn't get paid.
Right. Which is crazy to me.
I think that's going to be a really rare scenario because it's
Mm-hmm.
he piles it up on basic. If he gets another turn, it's there. Like it's almost like he has to die off of like dots or something like that
Mm-hmm.
for that to happen. What I don't think will be rare is Hondo accidentally sniping banners
Mm-hmm.
because you play something wrong, he flees, you still win because the rest of your team is there, but you then lose you ultimately it counts as you losing a character.
Right. Yeah, so this is okay. So would you only lose the battle if he was the last character remaining? Like if you have your 4 other squad members.
If it's only if he's the last character standing
Mm-hmm.
and he doesn't have 10 stacks of ransom,
He would flee.
he'll flee if that character dies.
Right. But if your whole team is there and you kill the character without 10 stacks of ransom that has captive, he flees.
He flees.
The rest of your characters stay.
Correct.
That's okay.
So like in
I was thinking it was like your whole team was now gone.
Yeah. In GAC, you would well, let's do territory wars because it's easier to calculate that way. In territory wars,
Mm-hmm.
you'd end up with a 19 in that scenario.
Right.
Not a 20. GAC, you and I should know this, but I know you lose based off of not full hit points, not full
protection.
And then you lose because if you lose a unit, you lose that as well, correct?
Yeah.
So you lose 3 banners as part of that.
Yeah. You would also, yeah. I'm just thinking, like in Conquest, you would not 3-star your node.
Correct. Yep.
And that's one where it's really easy, depending what your disc setup is, to just kill people early.
Yeah. He's going to be a terrible Conquest character. Especially with everyone using VA and AA, like the volatile and
yeah, I don't think together. I would like him for Conquest. I don't even know if I would like him for territory battles because he could theoretically flee there too.
That's a great point.
And now you're going through the rest of your encounter, the rest of your waves with 4 people.
Yeah. Like what I'm going to be interested is to see how the AI handles capture. Like, do they stop dropping capture on the board at a certain point? Like, if
Mm-hmm.
there's only two characters left, does the AI still continue to do it? Because where I think it's gonna burn someone is you drop capture on something, you're running auto, you put capture on it, and it just doesn't manage it correctly.
Right.
Or like, I guess if you're finger guiding auto, you target something, it puts capture on it, and then your team just blows it out because now I'm forced targeting it from that side. So
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna have to. I think you're probably gonna have to be very careful. Now, I think the big question is, what's the scenario for ransom going away? Because I didn't read anything in the kit that ransom goes away.
I didn't read that either, actually.
And someone said yesterday that it's a blue buff.
Which means it just stays.
It just at least it can't be dispelled. Like what's prepared will go away, but that's a function of the kit. But that's one of the few that it does go away.
So it says the stacks of ransom are for the encounters. So that's fine for Territory War, Grand Arena. Territory battles, though, each wave is an encounter.
Yep.
So each wave you're going to be starting over. Assault battles, each wave you're going to start over. So yeah, I think in Grand Arena and Territory War you would be fine, theoretically.
So, oh no, well no. So assault battles, you're faction locked. I'm like, is this going to be the secret for unlocking Secrets and Shadows CT3?
No. He is not a Night Sister, sadly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just skimming again, like super quickly, but I don't think it goes away. I don't see anything that says it goes away. Other than obviously the encounter.
I think it's gonna be a really, really weird scenario where it happens. Like where I think it's gonna happen, and understand this is a pain point for a lot of people, but I'm at 7 million, you're at 1 million in Grand Arena, and I'm not paying attention, and I put my Hondo team in front of yours and say Wedge does his AE and blows everyone. However the team's set up, you drop an AE on top of it, it wipes everybody out just because you're so overpowered for your opponent.
Right.
He escapes and you drop a banner. Now, are you really going to lose that match? Probably not, but it's definitely something that people are going to have to kind of manage and look at. So
yeah, it adds a micromanagement aspect to it, which I don't know if I like, but
we'll see.
That's fine.
We could also be sweating something that really isn't a problem yet. So.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, was there anything? I didn't read any of this inspiration.
No, outside of they said that they some of the names that they wanted to have, or they wanted to have one of the names called Insolence. We are pirates. We don't even know what that means. Was one of the ability names that they wanted, but they said it was too long and it didn't actually fit on the screen, which I thought was kind of funny. And I guess the marquee is supposed to be fun. So if you're not playing marquees, one, why?
Yeah.
And two, play it. And you've been to Galaxy's Edge at Disney, correct?
Yeah, I have.
It's that look. I don't like that look. I like the old cartoon Hondo look much better than the one with the fancy the Jack Sparrow coat is kind of the way I look at it. But it's
I agree with you.
Disney gonna Disney.
It's true. All right, cool. So that's Hondo.
Here was the other piece that was in there. He is the first character, not a ship, to get outmaneuver. I don't remember what outmaneuver does.
Wasn't outmaneuver Outrider's thing?
It's on the Falcon, at least. That was the first place that it was at.
Was it isn't outmaneuver his wiggle where you can't target him?
Yes, that's the buff. Is that what it is? Is that he can't be targeted? Which that's.
I'm just pulling that out of thin air, so I could be misremembering.
Let's see. Outmaneuver, 25% evasion, can't be countered, and can't be targeted if other allies are present unless taunting.
Okay.
Oh.
So he has this.
Oh yeah. He can't be targeted.
He gains it for 2 turns. So you can't target him. He gains evasion.
So All right, so let's do the Han Solo piece.
Okay.
He probably can't shoot first. Then he can't target Hondo to shoot first.
I think. Ooh. Oh, I think you could,
Think so?
because I don't think he starts. I don't think he starts with outmaneuver, does he? I was just getting confused if Hondo went first, but Hondo wouldn't go first. Han would go first.
Nope, it's on a special.
Um,
So yep,
so you could shoot him,
yes.
and theoretically, if you land the stun, would Hondo's first turn be wasted?
Well, he'd lose a turn, but eventually he could get to special one and
Mm-hmm.
get off outmaneuver. Um, all you're doing at that point is just slowing down like when he can get in and like especially if you don't have a team that has a pre-taunt on it, like CLS,
Right.
he's not gonna be able to get a turn off and actually like could you imagine like going against a CLS team and setting CLS to speed to 0 because you can target anybody you want to?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
That's gonna be crazy.
Um. Okay. And this special is a cooldown of 6, so realistically,
And
you have 4 turns after captive
yeah,
expires on the first
yep.
person before you use it again. Um. Okay. Okay. Well, he sounds fun and interesting.
It's a Hondo.
It's a Hondo. I have been wanting Hondo in game for a while, so I'm pretty excited that we're finally getting one, even if he kind of looks Jack Sparrowy.
I think it's good that he's there. I think we're getting to this weird state in the game that, like I said, we're kind of getting like cult things. Like there was like the cult of Starkiller, and there were a lot of people, and I played that game, and it was fun, but it was not, and earth shattering to me. I think um, Hondo is cool. Like my Hondo is Rebels Hondo, not Clone Wars Hondo, and I think they're a little different between the two of them.
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
And and as we saw the second piece of this, there's a corner of the Star Wars world that are in the comic books, and that's where Dr. Aphra lives. Although I think there's a lot of rumors going around that we're going to get a TV show around her, but I think we're getting a lot of who comments right now from people of like, who are we bringing? Who is this? Why does this matter from that side? So, but I'm excited for Hondo. Yeah.
Yeah, it should be good. And then, like you said, he's leading to Aphra.
Yep.
Which, do you have any other points about Hondo?
I don't. I think I guess that as far as you were concerned, we should already have him.
Yeah, I've been waiting for like you said, he's in Clone Wars, he's in Rebels, and like we've got the Phoenix crew here, we've got Thrawn.
I was just saying from December October 5th, the date of October 5th that we should have actually had him up.
Yeah. Well, they put out this nice little graphic at the end of the puzzle that showed there's going to be 4 characters, and Hondo's one of them, leading to Aphra. And it says 10/5 on it. And I'm like, cool, October 5th. Like, that to me isn't when he goes gray in the game. Like, I want to play the game. I want to play the event and put him on my roster at 3 stars, please. Which, I mean, granted, we're only having to wait like a day, so it's fine. But still.
But so what? It's 11 a.m. Pacific, so that means that my calendar needs to be cleared at 2:00 tomorrow. That's the way that I'm looking at this. So
right, so you can actually enjoy the event and not just.
So I can jump in and get it done. So
yeah. Okay. Do you want to talk about? So you're way more familiar with Dr. Aphra than I am.
Yeah.
So I thought it would be great to talk about her coming and we could speculate on who you think the next 3 characters might be.
Yeah. So for folks that don't know who Dr. Aphra is, and you're too lazy to have gone to Google in the past 4 or 5 days to Google who is Dr. Aphra.
Mm-hmm.
She was a character launched in the Marvel Darth Vader comic
The
in
Marvel. Okay.
2015. So there's a phenomenal Darth Vader comic run that makes Darth Vader that much more of a badass than what he was in Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole comic run is Vader running around behind Palpatine's back trying to get to Luke.
Okay.
And to help with this, he hired an archaeologist by the name of, I believe her first name is Chili Aphra, to help him he needed to recover something. He hired her to go in and smuggle this. And she's an Indiana Jones like character
Mm-hmm.
who is massively self-serving. Like there are so many weird parallels to Hondo. Like Hondo would sell you out in a heartbeat to run away. She would do the exact same thing, but she is wickedly, insanely smart to the point that she tells, spoiler for everybody, because I just think this character is so cool. At one point in the run, she tells Vader, if you're going to kill me, just don't do it by doing this, because that would be the most terrifying way to die.
Oh.
And when she inevitably stabs Vader in the back, he goes to kill her that way. And the reason why she told him that was so that her team could actually swoop in and save her, because she actually set it up so that he would kill her in that manner. So it was cool from that standpoint. But there's a ton of very memorable characters that have come out of this, and I am in the camp that I think this might be two things. Are we going to get a character to go with Hondo?
Mm-hmm.
And then are we going to get some characters that are going to go with Aphra? I think two of them are pretty locked in for Dr. Aphra, that we will get them. So she had two droids that she traveled with. One was called BT-1. BT-1 is Murder R2-D2.
Murder R2-D2.
That is the way to describe it. He is like a roving weapon station. He blew up the Tarkin Initiative. He is just a chirp explosion. That's what he does. She then has a protocol droid called 000, or they call Trip.
Right.
And Trip is torture C-3PO.
Oh, geez.
So very formal, talks in the same way that 3PO does all of his pieces, but also like his fingers turn into torture implements because, again, he's been trained that way.
Right.
They are phenomenally well done characters. They are amazing, and just murder bots. She will probably be neutral. They are dark side.
Right.
They are as dark side as you can get for what these things do. So I think those two are probably locked in. That's 100% going to happen. The other part of her crew was Black Chrysanthemum was actually introduced in that comic run, and it was her hired muscle. It'd be interesting if he gets a kit tune up to work over on that side.
Mm-hmm.
So now where we go from there, there's a couple of different things. So if we keep it in the Aphra line, there was a bounty hunter by the name of Santa Staros.
Okay.
Who in the comic claimed to be married to Han Solo, was trying to chase down Han Solo. Aphra dated her at one point, so it's kind of like an X type situation, and they were both chasing Han to get to Luke. So with all the push onto the scoundrels and the smugglers, I think she might be an interesting fit.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if it's not like some of like the like Fennec, where it's like scoundrels can actually maybe complete the payout. So that would be an interesting one. But I also think there's a good chance that we might get a Hondo related character.
Right.
I want Melch.
Yeah.
That's who I want.
I feel like that would work.
I want the rise of the Ugnaught faction, and I want Melch in the game. So.
Well, we only have one Ugnaught. Give him a buddy.
He needs a buddy. We can start rolling them together and make that work. So.
Oh man. Yeah, because I guess that's the thing is, do they all have to do with her? I guess they would all have to do with her because they all lead to her.
I think we're gonna need at least we're going to be restricted to the smuggler scoundrel faction to build this out, which was listening to Gambit today, and they pointed out there are now more scoundrels in the game than there are rebels, which blows my mind.
Right? I was just going to say that. I was listening to them the other night too, and they said that. Yeah, so if you have more scoundrel smugglers come into the game, like they're just running with it.
Yeah. And that seems to be where Disney wants to play there a little bit more right now. I mean, it's
I think they've just had so much success in that with the storylines that revolve around those types of characters that why wouldn't you?
Well, it's the Superman problem. No one should root for Superman because he always wins. Like when you're the strongest person, the fastest person, that's what space wizards are. Let's get to people that actually have real problems and can't deal with it by, force choking people or throwing trash cans at them.
Right, exactly. Okay, so there's
and I'm going to pronounce this wrong. So Lindenson actually pointed out Quill is an Ugnaught as well. So we could run 3 in 3v3.
Oh my gosh. I forgot that he's an Ugnaught too.
Yeah.
Is he under the Ugnaught, like when you go in game?
I don't believe so.
I don't think he's tagged Ugnaught.
Which is a missed opportunity. Maybe we can get the CG to fix that.
Yeah, they should definitely fix that. He's an Ugnaught. He should have the Ugnaught tag. Because
interesting, there actually isn't an Ugnaught tag in the filters anymore.
Oh, they took it away?
Yeah. Oh, because I'm looking at ships. Man, I am blind.
Oh.
Yes, there is no Ugnaught filter. There is no longer an Ugnaught faction.
They took it away.
Ugnaught is just light side and support.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's kind of sad.
Oh, so disappointing.
That's sad. Okay. Well.
So you I don't know if you've got access to Marvel Unlimited is a great place to do this, but that Vader run is a great story, but you need to find a way to read this just to see the 2 droids. Like,
okay, yeah.
I'm excited for Dr. Aphra as a character. Like, I think she's a really super interesting character, and she is broken beyond belief. But I wanted her in the game because that was the only way that I was going to get the murder droids. Like that's what I wanted.
You wanted the murder droids.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming they make BB-9E look like a child's play.
He's a kid in Sunday school who says "damn" compared to these 2. Like that's yeah. He's nothing. They are amazing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out how to get it because I don't think I can. I think I have to be on a VPN, but
yeah,
that's fine. That's a future Sarah problem. Okay. Anything else you want to speculate on?
No, there's some other characters there, and I think that there was an Empire, I don't know, officer, kind of battle officer that Dr. Aphra was tied under a strip for a long time. I didn't really like the character. I could see that that would be an interesting way because would probably fall under maybe a trooper category. So maybe you could slide that in and expand a faction a little bit left and right as part of that. There's a lot of, she had some random bounty hunters because, again, she was an archaeologist, air quote, but more of where Indiana Jones was stealing things to go into museums. She was stealing things to sell them is really what it was. Steal things to sell for other people. So she hired a lot of bounty hunters, worked with a lot of bounty hunters from that side. So they could pull in some things. So I think those would be really kind of out there. On Hondo, he had the Weak Way pirates. I think there might be a way to maybe you could slide those in. He had that weird jowly fat guy from Rebels that it was his business partner. I don't like that one. Is a great idea. And then I think Bazago was the other pirate from Rebels.
Okay.
That maybe I know. I think Arnold put something out today that he's it's going to be Cal Kestis. I think everyone's going to speculate Cal Kestis until the end of time, until he actually gets into the game at this point. So
I feel like people were asking for him before Hondo was announced.
yeah,
So
yeah.
Okay. Cool. Do you want to talk about the bantha in the room?
Yeah, you want to go first? You want me to go first?
It doesn't matter. I don't. So now I'm curious if we should talk about what our actual points were, or if we should talk about the Jabba event.
Let's talk about the Jabba event, because it's funny as we're reading the notes. Those weren't the notes that we wrote,
Right.
but they became the notes that we need.
Oh man. Okay. So full disclosure, before we even get into this Jabba event, you have Jabba and I do not.
Correct.
So we're coming at this from opposite ends, so to speak.
Yep.
So they did this content update today, and the Hondo he showed up, and they made these territory battle changes, and then there was a Smuggler's Run event that was put in game, which is mislabeled. First of all, let's just get this out of the way, because a lot of people have not actually read, or they're just not looking at it in detail on the content update. They do say it is mislabeled. It is the original Smuggler's Run event still exists. This is supposed to be Smuggler's Run 2, which you do need Jabba for. So everyone looked at it, panicked, and was like, it's gated, and all of the other tiers are gone, because you only saw this one tier. But it is a separate event that you will need Jabba for. And it is, wow. I mean, people are real mad that they can't play this.
It's a whole thing. I think part of the problem also is, one, public service announcement. Folks, when the game updates, go read the patch notes. Yeah. I know reading is hard and it's not fundamental, but there's so many, like, let's set the pitchfork on fire and start running towards the village, that we could... Look, no one has to do that extra cardio if we just open up our web browser and just read the notes, because a lot of this stuff is covered in there. I think, but part of the other problem is, look, it doesn't help when you build a bunch of mistakes in, and it's not even the name as much as it's the picture that shows Kira and Van Chu and young Hondo, or young Han, and then that change, like, I can see where people made the mistake,
right? Because
but when
even for me, I thought it was a glitch at first because of that reason. You see it, and I remember looking at it, and I got the update before the content update pushed, like on the forums, like 5 minutes before. Like, I'm not being dramatic, but I remember looking at it, and I was like, there wasn't a Smuggler's Run this morning, and I was confused because it said I had 12 hours left. So first of all, the timing is also just completely wonky on the event. So I was confused, and then, like you said, it's the same name, it's the same picture, and I'm like, all of the other tiers are gone, so that's odd. But it's just a separate event, which they've acknowledged, and it will be called Smuggler's Run 2, similar to how we have Galactic Bounties 1 and 2 and all that fun stuff. So what do you think? So the Jabba requirements still are not farmable. Leia just went into shipments today. Lando still is not on the board yet. She's obviously not on the board yet. So this is specifically for people, obviously, who have Jabba, but if you want to have Jabba right now, you will have to buy the packs, buy the crystals to whale them through the stores, etc. What, like, did you... I don't know. I'm trying to phrase this in a way that doesn't make me sound like I'm being a dick. I just don't think it's a big deal that it's gated behind Jabba. And don't get me wrong, like, of course I want to do the event too. Like, I want the rewards too. But also, like, okay, this is just something that I can't do yet.
Yeah. So I popped into Discord, and I'm watching a number of people argue both sides of this. Well, this is this is something that's good for the people that actually, that whale down, and it's a reward for them. It's kind of the benefit of going first. There's a number of people that were kind of talking about how it's just widening the resource gap. And I just very plainly stated, as someone who has the rewards, I am no better this afternoon than I was this morning.
Right.
It's the way that I look at this and kind of looked at the rewards. Smuggler's Run 1 is designed to get some mods that are RNG based, and I've had some big wins on those in the past. I've had some not big wins. It's designed to get some 5e upgrade materials in your hand to help build out mods. Incredibly helpful. I look forward to that every day. Smuggler's Run 2 is designed to get 6e mods in people's hands and help them build those pieces up. But it's not enough to roll. So I've got a mod that I'm trying to get from 6e purple to 6e gold.
Okay. I
was 3/4 of the way there, and I'm not sure I got enough resources to actually finish it the rest of the way. So it's not a lot from that perspective. Do I think it's great that CG gave me something because I pushed it? No, this is not a. I think I jokingly said to you, like, like if you wanted to do this today and you wanted to whale out, you couldn't even whale out to get it.
You couldn't.
Like, and if you're gonna whale out to get those rewards, man, you missed the boat when you should have done this 2 weeks ago.
Well, that's the thing. Like, people are like, oh, well, like, get Jabba today. And I'm like, even if you did get like your characters done today, you would not have the energy hoarded. And then even if you bought vault after vault after vault, eventually the game tells you can't buy any more energy. So, which is why all of these people hoard so much energy to get Galactic Legends on the first day. So, like, you're not going to get him in the 12-hour window that this event is running. And I think at the end of the day, like, for me, it's just remembering that you're not everything is meant for you to get right away. And that sucks to hear. But at the end of the day, this is a game that has been around for 7 years. And CG needs to add new content to it. That means new game modes, like a new Smuggler's Run, new assault battles for Inquisitors, new galactic challenges. They need to add new things, because then if they don't, all you're going to be doing is collecting new characters and not doing anything with them. Like, you need to keep this rolling here, and this is the best way to do it.
Do you know what the best part about this event was?
What?
I finally got Jabba's ultimate to trigger, because I haven't been in a fight that's been able to last long enough for me to actually get the payout, get all the way up to unlock the ultimate, and actually have the Rancor walk out on the screen. Like, all of the other pieces, like, oh, they finally put something in. It wasn't hard, but it took time. Like, they tuned it appropriately for a Galactic Legend that needs to be everything at R5. But look, there's a lot of people talking about parallels around, they did this with Jabba. They're locking down the the Inquisitors and the assault battle, and they're only making it available to the whales to get access to these pieces. Like, I think you said it best. No, they're actually giving people a reason to use these characters and a place to use these characters as part of the game. And no one would be playing Galaxy of Heroes if Jedi Knight Revan was still the most powerful character in the game.
Right. Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like, and this is the other thing too, and I hate to be like that person, but July 19th, I think, was the road ahead, or State of the Galaxy, whatever it was, when they announced Jabba. So call it mid-July. So it's been a month and a half, 2.5 months since they announced him. And in that announcement, they said he was going to get a specific combat mission for territory battles for Geo and Hoth. In addition, they are going to be adding other utility uses for Jabba throughout the game. They didn't say what it was, Would I have appreciated a heads up? Absolutely. However, they did tell us back in July that he's going to be elsewhere in the game where you're going to want to have him.
Yeah. Yep.
So I think this is just them being like, hey, remember we said you would want to have him.
And look, again, I don't want to be a CG apologist, because I think they handled this very poorly. I mean, it's just, and this goes back to some of the Proving Ground pieces where they weren't going to give you access to Proving Grounds if you already had the character, but then some people were able to get in and play it. Like, guys, if you get it out the door correctly, maybe some of these problems aren't there. I also think that, again, we got the hut joke about Jabba as part of Smuggler's Run, and when I reached out to you, I'm like, which event is this? Like, I don't know what Smugglers.
Yeah.
Like, how about this is what it is? It's it's the details. Like when you told me, I'm like, oh, the Kira event. Like that's how I have it in my head. That but so let's get that piece done first. But these new events, the payout's not that great. It's something new that's there, but eventually everyone's going to get there. If you listen to most of, I'll say it, other folks that have podcasts, that have videos, other folks that play the game a lot, that engage heavily, that upper 10% of the community that just likes to talk about this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of that group of people that are saying, I will have Jabba in the next 6 to 8 weeks.
Right.
As soon as my Karstanton's ready, Scando, I'm starting to pull shards out as it makes sense out of the shop when she drops. So at most, people are going to miss 1, maybe 2 runs of this. Right. Again, there's a group of the population that's going to be there. Let me ask you, because you're looking at Inquisitors right now as your focus. Mm-hmm. Is this enough to make you pivot to Jabba?
No.
I think you'd be nuts if you said that you were.
No. There's nothing in there. The reward, don't get me wrong, the rewards are great. I want the rewards. There's nothing in there that I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be so far behind if I don't pivot right now. And if I were to pivot every time CG does something like this, I would never get anything done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
which, again, if we're going to be cynical, they want you to pivot left and right so that you get halfway into something and then you turn around and you're like, no, now I got to go. I got to burn resources on something like this. Stay the course, stay where you're at. Now, my hope is this event runs on the same day as Smugglers Run 1, and you get to do both of them.
Ooh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Because I think, at least I feel like we get Smugglers Run about every week.
Do we?
If not every 2 weeks, but it's a pretty I think it's a pretty frequent event. I don't want to see that event. I don't want to see if we get it 4 times a month. Mm-hmm. I don't want that to go to that the community loses 2 and I gain 2. I would like to see this as additive to where it's at. So mm-hmm. let's keep 1 at the pace that it's at. Let's add 2 on at the same pace, so it's additive, not a replacement for what's there.
Right.
But I just. The immediate reaction just seems to be like, just instead of so what, mm-hmm. or what's the real impact, it's this is terrible, and by the way, this other person's getting so much out of it. I'm not getting anything out of it.
Right.
I mean, I'm not.
I mean, and if you were to look at it from a attainable GL perspective, he does have fairly reasonable requirements. Yes, 3 of them or 2 of them aren't farmable at the moment, but they will be. But the relic requirements are fairly reasonable. That making him your next GL option isn't really that crazy, especially when you factor in the fact that they have a new territory battle coming. If you're in a higher end guild that's going to be doing it, you're going to want him anyway for the territory battle. This is just another reason.
Yep.
It doesn't make me mad.
Yeah. It was simmable today.
It wasn't.
Yeah. I turned on auto while I was walking the dog and just would check it from time to time to see what was going on. And then it delayed off long enough. I'm like, hang on a minute. And I turned it off. And I'm like, I was at 96% on the alternate. I'm like, no, I'm going to push the button myself.
You're going to do it.
I'm going to make that happen. So yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's fine.
Deep breath, everybody. Deep breath.
It's fine. We'll all get there eventually. So, my actual negative thing that I did want to say is, because I don't find this to be negative, but that I guess is the community's bantha right now. Where is the new community manager? Crumb said, it's been weeks. Crumb said that they had hired him. The papers were signed.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
He said it on a stream.
Okay.
And I can't remember if it was on like the Gridsy session or if it was on Escape podcast. I do remember watching it. So it was one of those two. I do remember watching it, and he had said that they had hired them. And basically the way it was going to work was he was going to kind of be because he confirmed that there was going to be a community manager for Galaxy of Heroes and a community manager for the Lord of the Rings game. And he's kind of like overseeing everything. So he's looking at both games. And the Galaxy of Heroes one has been hired and paperwork signed, and they'll be introduced to us momentarily. Where?
Well, in all fairness, there's 6 weeks of corporate training. You've got to figure out where the TPS sheets are. Probably 2 days of workday training to figure out how you file PTO requests, even though you won't have PTO for another 4 months. So, that gets us into December for just, general corporate garbage.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, let's, again, I have made this analogy before, and I have been pretty critical of Meathead over the past couple of weeks,
mm-hmm.
but, Meathead right now is the guy that got asked to pick up someone else's work because Tom went on vacation.
Right. 100%.
You're going to put just enough effort in so that the building doesn't burn down and Tom gets back.
Right.
But you called it out on I think someone said what was it? What was the phrase that he used to describe light side and dark side battles?
Campaign battles.
And people are like, what are campaign battles? And you're like, oh, that's what they call them in Sorcerer's Arena.
Yeah. And it was, I didn't even make the connection to Sorcerer's Arena. Everyone's like, what are campaign battles? And I was like, it's light side, dark side. And then afterwards I was like, oh yeah, because that's where he's from. I don't know. I think he's doing an okay job. I don't want to criticize the guy. He's from a different environment. He hasn't played this game in a very long time, and he's, he just got his first Galactic Legend. He's very new to it. He's obviously very new to the community in terms of what we will tolerate. And I don't envy him. I would not want to be in that position. But where is the new guy? I feel like having somebody who we know is our community manager is important. We know that Meathead is a temporary community manager, and it's important for us to have the permanent one there so that we can get to know them. We can understand the jokes that they're cracking. No one knew that Meathead was cracking jokes about his favorite band in August.
Yeah.
Until people were like, that's I was folding laundry, and I was like, huh. We have a band T-shirt that says August Burns Red in the house. Okay. It's just this whole thing where people don't know his sense of humor, and he doesn't know what we tolerate as humor. It's just this whole thing.
In all fairness, and again, this is not a shot at you don't interact with us enough, but we get just enough of his time for him to maintain some semblance of order.
Mm-hmm.
So the big thing of a community, if we really look at a community, I'm gonna sound like a sociologist for a second. You have to understand societal norms and societal expectations, and community norms, community expectations, and Doja or Carrie or any of the other community, it wasn't Carrie, it was I'm not a Jedi, but
Mm-hmm.
any of the other community managers in the past would know that if I put October Burns Red
Mm-hmm.
or August Burns Red at the bottom of a post, and how much the community wants a ship called Red 5,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to connect the dots. And that what happens when that in our particular community, when it doesn't work out the way that it is that generates a lot of ill will.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's become, like, we think we figured this out, like it's the whole puzzle piece. Like Crumb builds, is it that Crumb builds big puzzles and Meathead was building little puzzles, or was it just a throwaway comment? And I hope that maybe part of the reason what's taking a new community manager so long to get in is that they are just going through volumes and volumes of information to understand just
Right.
where we are. And again, I think Meathead has done some really cool things. We've talked about this. I think the new format that he's just posting the kit things, like little changes, but that's phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
I thought his Hondo thing on Monday was absolutely hysterical. Like, I give him shit all the time for trying to be funny, but then missing the point. But it was funny. It was like, build one, like, I don't know, press the button because it's Hondo. Like, that was funny. Like, that was, and that was like, that was a way of saying those things are coming. But you're right. We kind of need our own person that understands our own brand of neurosis.
Well, and like, he does kind of get it, because he's made little remarks in his post before Profundity was out that were heavily hinted at Profundity. So it's I don't know. I'm just curious where I can only speak from my own experience getting hired in a job. Like, when I signed the paperwork for all the jobs that I've had in my industry, when I signed the paperwork, it was a done deal. I started within a week, and I was there, and I had however much training I got. My first job, the first one I signed, I think I had like a month of training or something ridiculous, but I was still there, and everyone knew that I was on the team.
Yeah.
At the job I'm in now, I was solo on my second day. Like, just throw you into the fire, and I'm like, just throw the community manager into the fire. We will play nicely, maybe.
Yeah, I mentioned on the I talk a lot for a living. I talk to groups of people, and I understand the difficulty in trying to be engaging. And if I just stand up and talk about my boring ass technology crap, people kind of fall asleep. So you tend to put jokes in. But I have firsthand experience when an attempt at being entertaining overshadows what you're trying to put in front of someone, and how quickly someone misses the message. And that's been my complaint through this the entire time. As a quick example, I have a technology certification. It is an expert level. There's a very few people that have it. And it's looked upon very highly. Mm-hmm. I referenced it 3 times in front of a customer once in a presentation. And at the end of it, their feedback was, we'll never buy this because it takes an expert like you to be able to implement it.
Oh, wow.
And the whole, and it was, and the how I kept referencing it, I kept making jokes about when I failed the test the first time.
Right.
But their takeaway from it was not funny stories about where I kind of screwed some things up. It was, they completely missed the simplicity piece I was trying to convince it. And that's what I just see right now with some of these, it's the, and again, that was a lesson learned for me. Is like, maybe I need to focus on what they need to hear and less on being funny. And there's probably a lot of people saying, well, you're not funny in the first place, but that's a different story. So
it's a different story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm just waiting. It's not the end of the world. I'm just curious.
No, it is the end of the world. I'm sorry. We're going to burn it all down if we don't get this fixed. Crumb, you have 48 hours. Also, bring the new guy on our show first. That's the other piece.
We're nice.
We're nice.
Okay. Do you have anything other for your bantha, or should we be positive?
No, we should be positive.
We should be positive. All right. We can be positive. So let's go to our I Love You, I Know segment, because like I said, we've been playing this game for 7 years. It's super easy to get jaded, but there's definitely still a reason why we're still playing it. So Pico, what have you been enjoying over the past couple of weeks in the game?
I have fallen in love with my original Star Wars Galaxy Hero boyfriend, OG Finn, all over again.
Yes. He's
Um,
my original boyfriend too.
so I put the Zeta on him, and I am literally running that old tank team, and I although again I slid Rose in because of out of principle, but um, it's just so much fun with that Zeta
Yeah.
or with that Omicron in territory
For
battles.
territory battles.
Yeah.
I
Now
really want to do it.
I didn't think it was possible to drop a wave. I did today.
Oh, come on.
They don't do well with General Grievous
Okay, that's good to know.
Because they do so much damage so quickly
Mm-hmm.
that you take out a droid and he attacks you, and then you do your next attack and a droid's gone and he attacks you, and it was just and it was in wave 4, but I couldn't even be mad at it. Like it was it, there's this really cool effect that when you know, because it's when you hit a target with expose,
Mm-hmm.
everybody takes true damage.
Mm-hmm.
So you hit the target with expose, and then all the characters kind of do like the little pop for when they get hit at the same time, and it's just phenomenal. I love it. It's I'm back with my guy again, and it's great. I love it.
I do really want to do that Omicron. I'm in an Omicron crunch, and I need to probably just bite the bullet and buy that pack right now. But oh man,
They're nice. They're nice.
I know. I want it so bad. I have been loving Profundity. First of all,
Yeah.
I did take him to 7 stars.
Okay.
I was hesitating on it. I didn't know if I would be able to do it. I had enough crystals saved up just to get there, and I was like, you know what? Let's just get this over with. 7 stars it is, and I was gonna have enough crystals left over for Conquest, so it was totally fine. Because that was like my concern. I was like, Conquest is gonna start. I need to have crystals for refreshes, and we're fine. So I've got it to 7 stars now, and I used it in phase 1 with Falcon, which obviously was super super easy breezy. Platooned my Falcon today for phase 2. Super easy breezy still.
Yeah.
I was like, this is amazing.
So who did you run for the starting 3?
So I wasn't sure what to do, and I was like, I want Outrider to survive, so I double tanked it. I did Biggs and Y-Wing. And then I still did the same reinforcements. I did Phoenix ships and then the 2 U-Wings, but like I didn't even get to my I got obviously Phantom came out, and then Ghost did right after, and it was over.
Yeah.
I was just like, okay. And I think Biggs or Y-Wing died. One of them died. But I was like, double tank. This was the whole point. So like that's fine. It was so much fun though. I was like, this is great, even without Falcon.
And so I used him in phase 2, 3, and 4.
Mm-hmm.
At the last territory battle, and I purposely didn't use the Falcon because I just wanted to test it.
Mm-hmm.
I died in phase 4, but I was in the same boat as you. I was deciding, do I want to double tank just in case? And I didn't on phase 4, and I probably will this time if I'm back in that because we're going to start seeing enough profundities roll into the guild over the next, I guess next month probably, that the platoons fill really fast right now, except all those Millennium Falcons that now people want to hold on to, and it's like, well, I didn't need to, but I'm gonna wait from that side. So
I'm gonna try it without Falcon the next 2 phases, because I definitely want to get it down, because that makes it great. You get your combat mission down, and then you get your special mission if there is one with Negotiator, and you're laughing. So yeah, it's fantastic. Loved it.
Ships are finally easy-ish.
Right?
Ish.
We just need another 4 million GP. Oh man. Okay, so I did not see any questions in Discord, and I meant to quickly scroll back through the chat because I saw a couple somewhere way back there. There was a fun one.
I've got a question, a Discord or a chat question if we don't have any other ones.
Yeah.
So asking for a friend,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'm totally asking for a friend. If you were going to go see a sporting team in another city
Mm-hmm.
on that was going to bridge phase 4 of LSTB,
Uh-huh.
uh, and weren't sure you were going to be able to get combat waves, how would you tell your TB officer without having them
Uh-huh.
want to punch you in the face?
Probably like in a discussion format like this. No, it's fine.
Looking at
Yeah.
the calendar, I'm like, oh, this is going to be over. Like, this is going to be Saturday into Sunday, and I don't know how this is going to happen.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Saturday
good
into
times.
Sunday. Oh man. There was one. I thought this was fun. So Lion's Den was asking, who is your favorite Hondo, Rebels or Clone Wars?
I like I like Rebels Hondo
Yeah, me
more.
too. Me too. That's when I was like, I remember watching Rebels and seeing him, and I was like, cool. Like,
Yeah. Uh, you know, it was fun. I was like I said, I was walking the dog today and listening to Gambit, and they were talking about how Hondo is really dark, like, you know, kidnapping children. That was Clone Wars. Like, it's funny where if you watch the evolution of some characters, like in Clone Wars, he was a pirate who said some funny things. By the time that Rebels rolled around, he was a funny guy who also happened to be a pirate. Like that shift of kind of who he was, he turned a little bit more comic relief, and I just like the comic relief side of it from the Rebels standpoint. So
mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know why I've just always liked him in Rebels. Like whenever
yeah,
I've thought of Hondo, I've always remembered him from Rebels immediately. So
yeah,
he's just the one that I immediately think of, or that version of him, I should say.
yep.
So yeah, okay. Um, do we want to look at the meta because it did change?
It did. I went and looked, and it was really interesting. So
Hmm. So last week, um, Executor was at 87% or 78
I
in the top 10.
I think there were it was at 85 when we because we looked the last episode, but we didn't actually record where it was at.
Oh,
So it was down a little bit, but not a lot.
okay.
But this is a big swing.
Yeah. So Executor's down to 70 now.
Yep.
And then Profundity's 25%.
And then I think the next was, if I remember when I looked, it was First Order probably that was there doing the snipe of Executor to get into first
Yeah, you've got
for a payout.
Malevolence, Finalizer, Negotiate. Like
Yep.
it's all
Yep.
of them at one.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, well, and then so that makes up the other 4%, and then the last 1% is split among Home One, Endurance, and
Yeah.
Chimera. Um, yeah, that's a big swing.
It's a big swing. And I think what's interesting about it is that was probably a 20%. Well, I mean, it was a 15% swing towards profundity, but I don't think the profundity was even at 10% when we looked at it last time. So I think that's it's a big reduction, but second place kind of picked up quite a bit on the profundity side more than anything else.
I think a lot of people realized like how strong Profundity is at low stars.
Yeah.
I mean, I know like my shard is normally pretty dead, and after this last run, I'm like, there are a lot of 4-star profundities floating
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
And normally I don't fall with my profundity, and I woke up. This was a very very like I think off day, but I woke up back in the 30s one day,
Oof.
and I was like, how did I get here? I have to actually
Yeah.
climb today. Like, what is this? So yeah, I think a lot of people are realizing that it is a good ship to have.
So we just had my ship shard has 7 active players in our shard chat and 9 total players during the 24-hour window.
Oh wow.
But someone new stepped in, and I don't even know how they got our Discord. But again, we are very an open arms. Let's figure out how we can make this work out. He's actually he and I share the same payout, and I'm just letting him take first. But it was, you know, there was a lot of chaos over the first week. Like, hey, you hit me, and my payout's in an hour. And they're like, well, I looked at the bot. I'm like, yeah, I actually haven't maintained the bot in the past 18 months because we just know when everyone's payout. So we're like having to kind of figure out how to exist now because there's actually people climbing up into that space. But man, it is take out Xanadu Blood, turn on auto, and go back to whatever you were doing. That's all it really comes down to at this point for those fights. I love it.
Yeah. So it's great. I think more people are gonna get him quickly and making him a priority because they can see the difference. So all right, so I think that's it. We can head to Uncle Owen's moisture farm.
Let's go.
Cool. So let's talk about who and what we are currently farming in game, because everyone knows work comes before going to Tashi Station to pick up power converters. So Pico, what are you farming?
So I am finalizing a little bit of relic material for Swallow in 2 weeks. I'll be there without a problem. This was a kind of took our guild chat a little bit by surprise. I'm 14 Zetas away from having all of them. This got brought up last week, so I was trying to do 2 a month, but with all of the Zetas I needed over the past 6 weeks to get these out, I'm very, very low. But so I'm desperately trying. I just want to close that gap. I don't know why. Like I said, like, does Bodhi need a Zeta? No, but yes, he does. You know, that's kind of where I'm at right now. So I need 14. I'll be at 16 tomorrow. I'll burn those out, but it's Zeta Mats and Swallow. So how about yourself?
Man. So I'm hoarding the gear for Ben.
Okay.
Which is, and the Omicron, because you know, you need the Omicron for him.
Sorry, my Alexa just started speaking for some reason.
And it's slowed down my Inquisitor gearing, so I am still working on that. But I've been making a lot of use out of the Swigga Events gear tracker tied into Hot Utils.
Yep.
And it's making my life so much easier because I'm like, I can actually afford to take Second Sister to gear 13 right now, and I will still have the gear that I need for Ben. Like, it's so much easier for me to plan. And since I'm not going to have Ben unlocked for another week and a half, I can just slide in each Inquisitor as I'm going, which is fantastic. Since they all want the same gear.
So do you do so you've got Ben in there and it shows you don't need anything, then you add another character at the relic level, and then it shows you the gap between the two.
Yeah.
And once the gap's closed, you take the next step. Is that how you go about it?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. So once it's closed, I'm like, okay, you can go up, and then I'll swap the next one in. But man, it was painful because I was like, Ben's gear was so relatively easy to hoard.
Yeah.
That when I added one Inquisitor, not all of them. I just added one, and I was like, and the one I added only needs 2 pieces to go to gear 13, and it just like exploded in red, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So
that the SWGOH events tool integrated into Hot Utils, that's a really great little hook that they have between.
It's making me way more efficient with my farming and my like planning out what I actually want to do. Because before, like, I knew what I was doing, but I would just go level by level and I wasn't actually planning ahead. Whereas now I'm like, okay, what am I going to use my extra fleet energy on? I need this. Like, I don't need it at this level, but I am going to need it. So let's go get it. Like, it just is making it so much easier. So I think everyone should be doing that if they're not.
And you're hearing a lot of people right now that are saying that, you know, it's like, oh, I'm not spending any gear because I've got everything I need for Swallow, and I don't want to accidentally put something in Swallow. That takes away that accidental piece of it is lining. And it probably should point out, you can use the SWGOH events tool, gear planning tool, without Hot Utils. You just have to manually add in what you have in your inventory at that point. But I've been using that for a really long time, for a couple of years, and I just, for me, it helps me feel like I'm making progress
Yeah.
while I'm hoarding something, because there's so many people right now that I'm holding on everything, and I think that I'm making progress on something else, but progress is a lot of times is clicking a green plus and turning it into a gear piece.
Yeah.
And I think just mentally, like just those little check boxes that people can get by using that tool, I think it's phenomenal.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, this is fantastic. Still super annoyed at how much gear they need, but it's fine. So that's what I'm working on. I only have 1.5 Omicrons right now, so
Okay.
I will have 2 by the time Conquest is done. Like by the time
Okay.
we get our Galactic Challenge payouts and the however many we get from Conquest and stuff, I'll be at a full 2 mats. Yay. So I'm just kind of like, do I buy this pack? I don't know. I just don't know.
It's hard because if you do it twice, it's a full Omicron.
Right. If you buy it twice, then you have a like that. I'm like, so this is my problem. I have the Dash Datacron, like the crazy Dash Datacron, and I have Ben coming up.
Yeah.
And I just took Vandor to Relic 5 to use with Dash. So I'm like, do I give you your Omicron? Because you don't have it yet. And Vandor Chewie can go with you and just keep reviving everybody.
Yep.
But if I give you your Omicron, then I can only give one to Ben. Unless I buy these packs.
I think Ben's going to need 2.
I think he's going to need 2 too.
I think hitting under protection, especially when Rey dips so low in health, with because that world that they're the lifeblood ability, she pulls herself down so low, but she covers it up with protection.
Mm-hmm.
I just wonder if he can snipe underneath that.
Oh man.
And then you follow it up with Rey with a whirlwind to Kylo,
mm-hmm.
because they both have to be dead at the same time, and I think he's going to need both.
Yeah, that's the thing, and I'm like, I don't want to give him one and then not have it be as good as it could be.
But so my son really wanted FIFA 23 that just came out,
mm-hmm.
so he has been like begging for like, can I go do yard work and pay him $10-$20 here or there. I tried convincing my wife that I wanted to buy Omicrons today, and I want to know if she would pay me to go rake the leaves, and she told me no. So I don't know if you could maybe try and pull the same magic, but
right.
I guess what we let the 12-year-old get away with doesn't work for me.
Right.
But, yeah.
Oh man. Okay, so Mole Pokey just hopped in chat and asked a question that's kind of relevant to what we're talking about.
Yep.
Which Omicron do you think Ben could skip? Which I need to go look at his Omicron list again because I don't even remember which one does what.
So I was gonna say, does he have an ability called Tight Shirt Emo Boy?
Tight Shirt.
I feel like that he should have one that's called Tight Shirt Emo Boy.
Okay, so I don't think you want to skip his special because that's the one where he's dealing true damage and inflicting healing immunity. Oh man.
So yeah, I was just talking about the ignore protection one, and I had it confused. I think if you're going to skip one, you skip redeemed.
Right, the ignoring protection.
Yeah, because the obscured adds healing immunity for 4 turns.
Yeah, and it does true damage.
Yes.
And then force dyad is the one that you want right away.
Yeah, you absolutely have to have that one. So
if you only have one, you're doing force dyad. And then I guess your second is obscured.
Yeah, I agree. I think the ignore protection one will. I think in theory that idea of if I can kill Rey with protection and then take Kylo out before he gets his turn.
Mm-hmm.
In theory, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think that's going to be so easily countered by people just going back to super beefy Rey.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden that thing just doesn't. You just can't hit hard enough to get through 700,000 hit points or whatever she has when you make her beefy.
Yeah, because you're gonna have to kill Ray before you can kill Ben.
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise, he's just gonna keep
Yep.
coming back. Oh no, wait. You can't kill Ray. I totally forgot about this. You can't kill Ray when he's alive. It's the first part of it's the part without the Omicron.
Yeah.
So you gotta kill him, then kill Ray before.
But this kid is so confusing because then it says if the enemy in the leader slot begins their turn with Ben Solo defeated and Ben still has an active ally.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, you have to
You have
to leave Ray by herself.
So Ray, yeah, you have to. Well, you have to kill Ben. You have to kill Ben, and then kill Ray theoretically before your leader takes their next turn, because then Ben will still come back, but then that part of Ray being in the leader slot doesn't really matter. And then you could leave him for the end, theoretically. Or if it's just Ben and Ray, you have to kill Ben, then kill Ray before your leader takes their next turn.
I know we've had this kit for 3 months, but I haven't paid attention to it because it was 3 months out. But
I know.
I'm now just realizing that Starkiller is never going to be able to do this because Palpatine just gets so much turn meter.
Yeah, so Palpatine will take a turn, and then Ben just pops up again and is like, "Hey."
Oh yeah, hey, it's awesome that you've got that cool cooldown refresh Datacron on Mara Jade, and she just keeps taking turns over and over, and so Palpatine eventually gets a turn, and then everyone now stands back up. Ugh, that's so gross.
This is gonna be. I'm just trying to think, because if you're using a Galactic Legend here, your Galactic Legends are gonna be fast.
Yeah.
I mean,
look, I am not good at PvP. The only answer that I have off the top of my head right now is Lord Vader get into his ultimate 3 times so that you do the Force Crush and he just wipes the entire map.
Right, like he just AoE kills everybody.
Yeah.
The only thing my brain is thinking of right now is you need to kill them both at the same time. You need to find a way to kill them at the same time.
So, see? But
I don't even know if that would work. Because I mean, I don't know. I've never linked her with him, but it doesn't do it.
So
you're not going to do enough damage to kill her and him at the same time.
Yeah, whenever I've see like you link her and someone and you kill that person, you link her and someone, you kill that one.
Yeah.
And then you end up leaving her by herself, and then you chase her down with shocks.
Yeah. Oh man, this is gonna be messy. So this is the first one that you do.
Yeah.
Because this is the one where he just keeps coming back.
And then I think Obscured comes in because you can drop the healing immunity. That's the big piece of it as well. So, and as well as true damage is just it's pretty sick as well. But healing immunity I think becomes pretty important.
Yeah. So, Redeemed is the one you skip for now.
Yeah.
Man, that's gonna...
Is he 4 Zetas? Nope, he doesn't need one on Obscured.
He doesn't need it. So 3.
Yeah. That's what I was expecting.
Man. Oh yeah.
It'll soon be over.
Obito in chat is saying he's got instant defeat immunity, so C's ultimate won't kill him.
So you're telling me I should have tanked so that I could be really, really low in Kyber 1 when the next GAC rolls around, so that...
Hey man, I fell like a stone. It was beautiful. I'm at like the bottom of Kyber 2 right now. I'm like...
I ended up 5-4 in 3v3, which is not a good sign for me because that means I'm actually getting into a tough place. I'm starting 5v5 in a tougher spot than I like to.
Oh man, this is Yeah, this is going to be very interesting. I'm super curious how this is going to work. But that will be a problem in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah. For another night.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I actually think that's it this time.
I think you're right.
Right? Cool. So, thank you everybody for joining this week, watching, listening, whatever you're doing. Pico, thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, it's been fun. We're like, what, 3 episodes in a row?
Yeah.
We're chugging along at this point.
Right? We're doing great. All right, guys. So that ought to do it. And until next time, Chewy, we're home.